Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining today's webinar. We're going to be talking about a complete data monitoring solution with TDengine. Really quick, let me share my screen so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, specifically with IDMP. So what we're going to do is we're going to show an instance of server data collection with data centers and see how TSDB and IDMP work together to kind of create these intelligent metrics for you guys. So to start out with, before you even begin, what you will need to do this demo is a web browser. Obviously, we're going to be running everything on TDengine's cloud. Uh, Somewhat of an access to the Telegraph libraries, which you can install. On the demo page online, the tutorial specifically lists it for Ubuntu, but you could also do it on Mac and Windows, which I will be showing you guys how to do. As you can see, I'm on Mac, which has a GUI interface, so the commands are a little bit different. But let's start out with the basics. What is Telegraph and how does it work with TSDB and TDengine? Great question. Telegraph is an open source data collection agent. So basically, think of it as like a really lightweight piece of software that you can run on any server, VM, or edge device. It works through a series of plugins that load metrics onto it. For our use case, we're using data centers, so you're going to see CPU loads, memory disks, networks, processors, and output plugins are where those metrics are sent. We're going to configure Telegraph to directly send those metrics to TDengine. So as you can see, Telegraph stores the data here, sends it to our time series database, and then it is managed in our IDMP. So the IDMP is built on top of our time series database. Now, really quick on IDMP, for those of you who did not join last week's webinar, IDMP is TDengine's industrial management platform for data. It consolidates your data on top of IDMP. So it's a way to make sense of these large, complex data sets. And instead of just raw data tables, IDMP creates hierarchical categories of data. So you can see your data visualized. And on top of that, AI is fully built in. So you'll see instances of us actually using AI in IDMP. But to start, you guys are going to want to create a TDengine Cloud instance. You can just click here to register that for free. I've already got mine registered and set up, so I'm good to go with that. But if you had to, you can click register for free, create an instance of IDMP. So when you click into that screen, sign up with your email, create an instance, name it what you want. You could call it that, as it says in the tutorial. But once you've set up the TDengine Cloud instance, it's really easy to get going, right? The hard part about this demo is actually setting up your Telegraph database. I've installed it on Mac. So what you're gonna do on Mac is install it through Brew. So if you could see it here, there's commands for Telegraph on 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 this demo page that's already been configured. Most of these will work, but these right here are for Ubuntu. So it's not going to necessarily work the best on Mac. So you're just going to want to translate these to whatever it is. For Mac, I just use Homebrew, but depending on what platform you're on, you're going to have to switch up these commands. But again, before you start with your Telegraph server, you're going to want to create a database. So we're going to go into the time series database here. Click create database, name it whatever you want. I've already named mine Telegraph, but when you do, you'll see it pop up here. Once it's named, go ahead and just click create. You don't need to adjust any of the parameters. Set the database name to Telegraph so you know exactly which one you're using. And again, you're going to want to go into the TSDB, so the time series database, go straight into the Explorer, and then go ahead and do that, right? So once you've set up that database, you're ready to start your Telegraph server and actually ingest your data. So you're going to want to first run these commands, right? So you're going to install Telegraph, you're going to curl into it, but this is for Ubuntu. So you're going to want to search up the equivalent command for the operating system that you're in. After that, you're going to want to set up a Telegraph config file. This is actually where like your tags and data are going to get stored. And again, what Telegraph is it's a lightweight data collection agent, right? So it's created by Influx Data. Right here, we're setting up that server. So it's really easy for you guys to get going with data. And you're actually going to see this data pop in. I've already done this and set up my config file. Once you've set it up, you should kind of be able to visualize how exactly this looks in TSDB. So the tags are what identify each device. So if you go in here, you could see that there's tags for each device. There's input plugins. For example, there's stuff for CPU memory, right? Disk memory, processes. That's all in here already. And then there's an output plugin. That HTTP output plugin is what goes into TDengine. And that's the only thing you guys have to change. So if you look at this little line right here, that output HTTP plugin, it's asking for a gateway URL and token. You might be asking, where exactly do I find this information, right? So that's actually pretty simple. You just go to Cloud Resources, and you should be able to find your token and your URL right over here. Be sure to use TSDB, not IDMP. So you can see IDMP starter and TSDB. That's how you differentiate which one is which. But this is the only information. So you just take this information and paste it directly into your config file and you're good to go, right? So once that's ready to go, you can start Telegraph. I've already done it, but I can kind of show you what it looks like when you do start Telegraph on terminal, just so you guys aren't confused by it. Let me go through a command that I've already run with Telegraph. Let's see. Or actually, I don't need to go through any commands here. I'll just start Telegraph. So go ahead and just start your Telegraph command. So once you see that, you should see successfully started Telegraph. And for Mac, you get like a background items added message. But basically what happens is every 10 seconds, Telegraph collects CPU metrics. And how am I actually going to see this data being sent to TSDB? Well, if you go back to that database that you made, you should be able to see these metrics populate, right? So right now I already have rows of data already in here, but you won't exactly see this because I've added way more data than you have through my own custom script. But you should be able to see this database start populating with different tags, different CPU usage, and you can kind of see exactly what's going on. Every 10 seconds, Telegraph collects CPU metrics, and then it sends them as an influx line through HTTP. And TDengine natively ingests this format, and it directly lands into your Telegraph database. So you should be able to see it pop up real time. And it's super simple to do. Again, just run a couple of these commands. For you, it'll be different. As you can see for Mac, it was brew services, start Telegraph. Windows got a completely different command. But once it shows that it's active and running, you're good to go. And the way you can verify it is by actually seeing the Telegraph command. Now, like in a real data center, each one of these Telegraph agents would have its own tags. For today's demo, I've just simulated multiple devices on my laptop with different like sites, racks, and slot tags. But in a real world demo, you'd have like its own Telegraph agent for each device, right? So that's kind of what it would look like in reality. This is just for this demo. I have 10 Telegraph configs on my laptop and I've set it up and ingested this data. So let's see what IDMP builds out with this. So like going back to this diagram, first you ingest the data into the TSDB database, and then I take the ingested data from TSDB and then I move it into the IDMP platform. IDMP is built on top of TSDB. So you'll be able to see what that data actually looks like. So going into my IDMP platform, you could see that there is a tree-like structure over here. It's very similar to Aviva's Pi system. There's elements, and then there's references to elements. So how do I actually get my data from TSDB into IDMP? Well, that's pretty simple. You want to go to admin console. You go to connections. In connections, you can also adjust what AI you're using. For me, I'm using OpenAI, but you guys might have a model preference, and yeah, you could do that on TDengine. And to know that your AI connection is working, it says in use. So that's how you should know the AI connection is working. When I go into my demo cloud, right, which is my TDengine instance for IDMP, yours is going to be named different. You click on Easy Import, and then in easy import, you're gonna pick your database. So for us, it would be Telegraph. I clicked rebuild here. I would be able to click the paths and then the attributes that that path would inherit. So this is the wrong one. We're gonna go back to Telegraph. For me, I've picked server location. I've already done this, so you guys don't need to see this actually being ingested, but you want to go through your super tables, make sure that you set the paths accordingly. And then for your other tables to just make it faster for you, I would just click ignore. So it's way faster because there is sample data already loaded. You don't really want to process sample data right now. That's unnecessary because we're already ingesting data with the data center monitoring. So as you can see, you're able to see what's actually going on, and you can go ahead and ingest your data through IDMP. Once it's ingested, I've already done it, so you can kind of see it. For me, I've called it center server. Now you're greeted with the IDMP screen. So again, it's organized in a tree-like structure. And from here, that's where TDengine's IDMP's kind of magic happens, right? And the magic that I'm speaking of is that IDMP is a fully AI platform, meaning that everything that you see here that's available on other data historians and data visualization platforms is fully baked in with LLMs and agentics, right? And what do I mean by that? So first, even before I make a panel or I show you guys a dashboard, we actually have an AI chat, right? So I can ask it suggested questions. So if I wanted to, I could ask it what the CPU usage for slot 3 server of rack 2 is. And that was already generated. So we're going to give it a couple seconds here to kind of generate. But as you can see, this is the start of how AI is kind of fully baked into TD Engine. And when you look at it, it's giving you an answer, query the average CPU usage trend for slot 3 CPU. And that's our agent actually going in and getting that data for you. And it's also generated a graph. So that's one of the AI features that IDMP already has baked in that you guys will see when you set up this demo. But after that, let's look at the kind of magic of TD Engine, and that's panels, right? So I'm just going to make one for my data center. Right here, there's a couple panels. If I like a panel, I can dislike it. If I think a panel is great, I can like it, and the suggestions will be similar to that panel, right? And if one pops up again, you dislike it. But that's one of the ways. So the first way to make panels is through suggestions. I'm going to go pick one. So let's try this one. Cool. So this panel is already generated. So the current memory availability rate is ready to go. I can actually go in and edit this panel. So if I don't like something, I can make it a bar chart. Doesn't really make sense in this situation because it's one number. I can make it a pie chart. Also doesn't really make sense. You can make it a trend chart, but you could see how easy it is to kind of change that around. So I'm going to save it and go back, right? Um, but let's say that I want to do something else, right? Another way to make a panel is actually through prompting. So let's do daily memory usage for the past week. And there, as you can see, I've just prompted it. If your data doesn't look right, it really depends on what kind of data you've ingested. So for me, maybe it's different. Maybe it looks better with one day. So I can easily adjust that on the fly. And I'm not limited to this, right? So I can go in and edit these panels. So if I wanted to, I can add multiple different data points. So for server memory or server processes, like I could, while for memory used, I also want to see kind of what the CPU usage is. So what is the idle CPU usage? I can add that, right? Or for server memory, I want to see what's free. I can add that metric. So metrics are easily addable. And you can kind of see both of these pop up here, right? So this is the free, and then this is the used percentage. So daily memory used versus free. And I can go ahead and click save. It's also AI generated. You guys have a multitude of customization options. I can change the line width if I really wanted to. I'm able to fill one of the lines if I wanted to. I'm able to rotate labels if it's confusing. I can make the intervals small. I can make them medium. I can make them large. I think I like large better. I'm going to decrease the line opacity. I don't really want it to fill. I could change the axis titles. I could add limits, right? So I could limit one or the other. I can show things as filled regions. I think I'll leave those as such though. And then I can also create legend values. So I can make a max number so you could see the max. I think I want the max. And then I can just go ahead and hit save, go back, and that chart is ready for use, right? It's ready to go. If I view here, we've added a new feature called multiple lanes. So you can kind of see uh, the use percentage versus free memory real time. That's another really interesting feature. So that's two ways to make panels. You can prompt it. You can click suggestions to make your panels. But what is the third way to make panels? What I mean, you could just make the panel, right? So for me, I'm going to go back to the memory. That exact memory that I made before, I can just make here. So for the last 12 hours, uh, memory over last 12 hours. And as you can see, it's pretty easy. But what if I want to see this is the free memory. What if I want to see the used? Add that metric too. As you can see, multiple metrics, easy to add. You could also do predictions. So I could, if I wanted to, I could use one of these algorithms. I'm going to use our time series algorithm, and there's a prediction. I have multiple metrics, so it's a little hard to show here. So I'm just going to disable it. But once again, you're able to add multiple metrics, you're able to compare, and you're able to go pretty deep into your customization options. If you guys have used something like Grafana before or any of those kind of visualization tools, you should feel pretty at home. So those are some of the things you could do with panels. I'm gonna hit click save on these panels, but what can you do with these panels when you're actually like done with the panels, right? Like what's the use case for these panels? And that's a great question. I can actually go into dashboards to kind of show you guys what you can do. So I've already made a demo dashboard here, but I want to edit it real time. So you could take, this is one of the dashboards, but you could take these panels and you can actually just combine them, right? So this panel that I just made, as you guys can see, very easy to add these to a dashboard. And in the dashboard, you can name it whatever you want. For me, I'm going to call this demo dashboard. And it's really easy to kind of visualize your data and present this data, right? So if I had to show this data off to someone or create some kind of presentation, I could do that with TDengine. I'm going to click save here, go back, and you can easily present this data too. So if I wanted to present this to someone, very simple to get it up and running, and that took less than like 5 seconds because AI is powered into everything we do. That's one of the ways you can use panels as well through dashboards. But okay, those are the ways to create visualizations with your data. What can I do for the practical side? And I think one of the most powerful things you could do with TDengine is analyses. So let's give AI a second here. But basically, what you want to do sometimes is generate analyses based on your data. And one of those like situations could be like, oh, if your CPU is usage is down below something, or if your CPU is uh, down below a certain threshold at like 80% for a couple seconds, you can generate those analyses. So let me say, similar to what we just did with panels, three different ways, right? You can create a manual analysis, uh, easily configure it, very similar to what you already know. But the real magic is if you lack the source knowledge, you can have AI make it, right? So I want to know CPU idle percentage over the past 12 hours. And we're going to go ahead and AI contextualize the data and come up with an analysis for us. Let's give it a couple seconds here. Done. So it's created a sliding window analysis for the CPU over the last 12 hours. It even tags it as AI generated. You're able to change the trigger type if I wanted a session window. Obviously, I've made it event attribute, new attribute. I can change that, and I'm good to go. You can enable upon creation, or you can't. For here, I'm just going to click save, and the analysis is ready to go. So you can see CPU idle percentage over the last 12 hours. If I hit refresh on the page, I can resume the analysis, and it's already running. So what can I do with this, right? So you could take these analyses, and now you could see like AI is generating analysis, right? So really deep level analysis, server memory of data center minimum available. So if I like it, I can click like. If I don't like it, I click like, dislike. Calculates the maximum use percentage of the past 1 hour every 5 minutes. That's pretty helpful. I would want to know that information. So I'm going to go ahead and generate this for you to show you that the AI suggestions can be generated. It takes care of everything for you. It fills out the description, and you're already ready to go. I'm not going to enable it upon creation. I'm just going to go ahead and click save. It's paused right now. We can go ahead and hit resume, confirm. And once again, really easy to get going, but you could also make these manually. I won't bore you with the details on manual making, but what can I do when these analyses are created? Great idea, and that is to make an event, right? So if you can imagine, if my max usage percentage in the past hour goes way high, I want an alert. So I am going to go pick an AI event template, and then I want it on the max memory. Alert, you can kind of alert me when it's too high. And when I hit confirm, this is a manual event, but you can kind of customize this. So you can go in, this alerts you on the percentage when it's too high. For right now, I haven't set that, but that's one way you can use it. So I can get a trend chart analysis of this, right? So if there was data, I would be able to get a trend chart analysis of this. I can acknowledge this alert. I can send a notification to my email. I can view the alert and configure it. So it shows a manual category, the associated analysis. There's a notification record. So it successfully sent me a notification, as you can see, and it shows you when it started. These alerts will be generated automatically when something is out of order and out of time. And that's kind of the magic of AI within the platform. So that's another thing you could do. As you could see, you could make these for these individual points in the tree as well. I just did for the overall data center, but you guys are able to do this for individual points in the tree as well. So those are all the different things you could do with the TDengine platform. Going through this, I guess the hardest parts of this are going to be finding the actual gateway URL and token, but TSDB makes it really easy to do. Common issues I kind of see is people don't really like let Telegraph run. So if your Telegraph data isn't actually being ingested, you'll know based on like your logs. So you can check logs for that. The kind of benefits of this is there's four major ones, right? There's almost effortless data ingestion. Like IDMP is fully built on top of TSDB, so it can be quickly imported. AI insight delivery. There's no need for any source knowledge. That's kind of what we're going for. So anybody can become a source expert with TDengine. There's natural language analytics. Again, no scripting required. You just type what you want. And then it's really easy to automatically onboard new servers. Just configure Telegraph. And you guys will see that when you try the solution. For now, I'm going to open it up for questions, but thank you guys for watching this webinar. So if you